In at number 8, we have the Mach 10. The reason this is in the video is because it has one of the highest mobilities in the entire game. The movement speed on this is just incredibly fast. So if you want to be fast, use this. You want to use the agency suppressor, which is mainly going to benefit the accuracy. We're then going to be using the task force barrel, and then the next attachment is the Raider stock, the 53 round drum, and then you want to use the Tiger Team spotlight just to give that extra movement speed. Honestly, you want to try this out. The mobility is crazy high. Let's get into number 7, which is the CX9. This is a super underrated build. This is a hipfire build, and it has an incredible fast TTK. The TTK is honestly through the roof on this thing. The only reason it's at number 7 is because the fire rate is just so fast. You run out of bullets really quickly. And honestly, if it had a larger magazine or if it had a faster reload time, this thing would be much higher. So you want to use the monolithic suppressor, and then you want to use the 5mW laser and the Merc foregrip. These are both going to increase the hipfire accuracy, 50 drum, and then the FR stock for the mobility. And that is the full loadout. Trust me, this thing feels amazing. In at number 6, we have the Owen Gun. This has definitely came back in to the mix a little bit with the most recent changes. It hasn't really received any changes, but because of the other weapons getting a nerf, this has now came back into the mix because those other weapons aren't overpowering it too much. So you want to use the recoil booster for the fire rate, and then we're going to be going for the rapid barrel for the fire rate again, and then the strife angled underbarrel, which is going to increase the accuracy. It's important you put a few attachments on here that are going to increase the accuracy because this weapon does have a bit of kick to it. So the next thing you want to use is the 72 round magazine, which is going to increase the recoil control and the fire rate. Lengthened ammo type, and then we're going to be going for the stippled grip tape just to increase that initial firing recoil and the recoil recovery. Slate reflector, and then we've got the removed stock. We're then going to be using brace for more recoil control and quick. This is honestly a great loadout right now. Let's get into the next one. In at number 5, we have the PPSH. Now, this did get a nerf in the most recent update, but it's still very dominant. So let's get into the class. Now, I'm not going to be giving you guys the hipfire build that everyone is using. I've been using a little bit of a different build lately, which feels really nice. So you want to use the recoil booster, and then you want to use the Zac 300mm barrel. The next thing you want to use is the strife angled underbarrel, the removed stock, and then we're going to be going for the slate reflector, the 71 round magazine with the lengthened ammo type, the taped grip, and then you want to use tight grip and quick. Now this build right here is basically just a normal SMG build, you know, that you want to just run and gun with. It's not a hipfire build, it's just a normal SMG build that feels really good. Let's get into the next build. Next up we have the Type 100. Now this is a really good SMG and the TTK is really high, but the only downside is it only has 36 bullets. So if this thing had like a 50 mag or maybe even bigger, this thing would literally be like the #1 SMG. I'm going to use the recoil booster, the rapid barrel. These are both going to increase the fire rate. The 36 round magazine is going to increase that damage, but there's only 36 bullets, which is the only downside. Strife angled underbarrel to increase the recoil control, and then you want to use lengthened. We're then going to be going for the slate reflector with taped grip as well for the mobility, just making this thing a lot more quick. The skeletal stock for even more mobility, fleet for more mobility, and then quick for more sprint speed. This thing feels great. The mobility is quite high. It's got great TTK, but the only downside is a small magazine. In the number 3 spot, the Armaguerra. Yes, once again, just like the PPSH, this thing was meta, but it did get a nerf. It is still meta, but it's just not as good as it was before. But it doesn't mean it's ass, it's still very good. So you want to use the recoil booster for the fire rate, and then you want to use the 315mm barrel. This is going to increase the damage. We then are going to be using the strife angled underbarrel for the recoil control, the 64 round magazine for the damage increase, lengthened ammo type, slate reflector, and then you want to use the skeletal stock for mobility, along with the taped grip for even more mobility, and then you want to use steady for ADS firing move speed, and then you want to use quick. In at number 2, we have the MP40, which is definitely meta again. In the most recent update, it got a buff, and ever since then, it just feels really nice. So let's get into the loadout. You might know it already because it's been around for a long time, because it was meta for the first couple of months when all the Vanguard weapons got released, and it hasn't really changed much since then. So yeah, these are the loadout. These are the attachments you want to use right here. Taped grip, and then we've got the perks. We've got Perfectionist, and then we got Quick. So it's really high mobility, fast fire rate, nice iron sights or whatever sight you want to use. Removed stock is going to increase that movement speed. This magazine is great. It increases that fire rate, ADS, movement speed, recoil control. Yeah, just try it out. Let's get into number 1, which is the Cold War MP5. This thing is just beautiful right now. Time to kill is insane, movement's insane, 5 attachments is nice and simple to use. This thing is my favourite SMG and it has been for so long. And in the update it got a buff, so it's even better than ever. But trust me, you guys need to start using this thing. It feels really, really good. This is the full loadout. We've got the Tiger Spotlight, we've got the stock, we've got the rear grip for the mobility, and then we've got the 50 round magazine, and then we've got the agency suppressor for the recoil control. That is the end of the video. Subscribe for more and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.